Thanks for watching D2 Wrenchworks and DIY, guys. Today's video, I have my Cannondale Silk Road here. This used to have a Headshok fork, as you can see here. I'm going to show you how to remove this and replace it with a standard 1 1/8 steer. And as you can see over here, we are using a brand new carbon fiber fork, an excellent upgrade. All parts, tools, everything in the description, as well as how to get this magnificently huge headset out with a massive steer. And this is exactly what we need the adapter for. So let's get into it right now. Alright, so a few quick things we're going to do. You'll need a small piece of wood. This is the smallest I could find, unfortunately. Some safety goggles, a hammer, and the 2 bolts for your stem. You might have multiple on yours. I'm pretty sure every Headshok one is going to have one on each side. We have one here and then one for the handlebars. That's 6mm. You're going to want to start with taking your wheel off first, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now next we have one 6mm bolt at the handlebars here. Second thing you definitely want to do is get the handlebars out of the way. Now our next thing, on the other side of the stem here, we have another 6mm bolt. Alright, now that this is nice and loose, if you have a lock, you want to remove the cap to this. You don't want to damage that at all. Now for this, we're going to need a 4mm bolt. You can see there's just one here in the center, but because this is also simultaneously a switch, when you actually start to unscrew this, you're going to get to the innards of the actual Headshok here. So we want to get some sort of water pump pliers, you know, whatever you want to call these guys, slip joints, and your 4mm here. You want to get it just not very tight, but just enough to kind of hold it and easily move it. This is won't break. It breaks loose fairly easily. You don't need a lot. There you go. Just rock them back and forth like I just did and pop it off. It has a slip joint onto this nut here. That is why you're able to unscrew this whole thing and get to the inside. This is the top cap to the inside of the Headshok. And now the next thing we want to do is get our stem off. So one quick thing I didn't want to forget here is you want to try to wrap up a towel or something, a rag around this. So if this does come loose out of your grip, you won't mess up your flooring or whatever you have. You could run some electrical tape or something around here. I'm just going to use what I actually use to hold the front wheel while the bike is in the stand, a little Velcro strap. And hold it on there, give it some cushion. And the next step, there you go, nice and tight. And just for safety's sake, because I'm going to have to hit this quite hard here, we're going to add some zip ties. So I don't have to worry about holding it. It's just too much of a pain. Okay, yeah, that will give us enough. That's not going anywhere, and it's looped around the center bolt of the brake here. Alright, I just wanted to quickly say, if you have a bigger lump hammer, like a mini sledge, I have one somewhere, I have no idea where it is, I haven't used it in a long time. Use that instead. Also, a socket, a large socket, this is a 1 1/16. It'll fit over the center nut there, the castle nut or whatever they call that, for the Headshok. And it's almost a perfect diameter of the actual steer too, so I'm going to actually use this to just get a better whack on there. There we go. Yeah, huge difference right there. Wow. Yeah, if you could just get a nice center whack with a socket. My wood was just wobbly and it didn't work out well, and this fits perfectly over that nut, so great. I have to cut my zip tie now. Alright, there you go. Got it out, nice and complete. I'll put my top piece back on here and everything right now so I don't lose any pieces. That's all goes right here. And even if yours is broken, you should definitely sell this on eBay. They're still worth money for parts when they're broken too, so we'll set this off to the side. I need to take the brake off, but next thing I want to work on is getting these headset cups out. I'm just going to use a standard headset cup remover. I'm going to have to use it at an angle, so I only get to use one piece at a time. I'll just walk it around so that I slowly pop the cup out, and we'll start with the top one. It's a little easier. You try to reach to the top and hold it with your finger. And you can see it's at an angle. I'm going to hit right here first. Actually, you don't even really have to hold it at an angle. It kind of just stays straight. Getting a good solid hit can be a bit tricky. A little patience, just keep walking it around and we'll get it here. Oh, there we go. I got a good hit there. Maybe not too much patience. There we go. First one out. And that's what it looks like. Onto the bottom. Alright, the bottom I'm going to have to try this way, I think. On the top, just... yeah, much better success this way. And there we go. Both of them. For the bottom one, it still has the bearing here. Alright, so for our next step, you want to actually get a good measurement of your cups. I'm going to use these digital calipers I got. I believe it's 51, but I honestly can't remember. And then it looks like 49. Let's check the top. Yeah. 49. Alright, so now what we will need is 49mm conversion cups. Alright, so as you can see, we have the Headshok out, all ready to go for sale. If you don't want to refurbish yours, that is for a future project for me, so I'll be setting mine aside. The stem, that's actually worth a pretty good chunk of money because it's super hard to find ones with the steers like this. And this one's pretty long, so I guess a lot more people use these for a more common 56, 58. So, what is this one? 110mm. So, I will be posting this on eBay to recoup some of my cost. As I mentioned before, this is a straight blade. I mean, I keep saying straight blade. Straight steerer, 1 1/8, so there's no taper to it or anything like that. And as you can see, there is a ton of room in here, right? So we measured it just a bit ago with some digital calipers, and it is 49mm front. Well, of course, top and bottom are going to be the same. So for that, we will also need a few tools. We will be pressing in our new headset, and I have a pretty sweet little headset press I got here off of Amazon. It does all different sizes, you can see here. So I will be popping this in with our new headset, and I'll also be installing a new race. When you get your fork, you might notice I left this bad boy on here, the shipping container thing. It's easier for you to put this on a rag on top of something hard and hammer your new race down. And lastly, we will need a 49mm conversion headset, and this is a super high quality unit that I've found off of Amazon. It's actually sold in 2 separate pairs. It's kind of hard to find. You have to really know what you're looking for. So I was hoping that this one was still a 50 or 49mm. I was pretty sure this was that, and here we are. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to work to pressing all this in now. So I'm going to put the race up here to act as the spacer and use this on our little cup system here. We're going to put the bottom one in first, obviously, as you can see. If you want, you could put a little dab of grease in there. There's already enough in, so I'm not going to worry about it. There's a nice little waterproof seal on the bottom of this bearing, so I will go ahead and get that out. I'll leave the whole bearing out as a whole because this cup will fit inside of... my headset press cup will fit perfectly inside of this. And from here on, we just do the work. Trying to keep this all centered is a little annoying, but a little patience will get you a long way, and you want to try to get as far as possible on the first try. You want to try to keep this nice and centered as you run it in. You don't want to risk cracking anything, that's for sure. Alright, for the bottom one, it's in there. You don't have to go all the way tight like when you do at the very end. I like to just get it in there nice and snug. And then once you put the top one in, you can just sandwich it all together and they'll be nice and tight at the same time. And for this one, I'll go the other way. And the same thing, you just want to make sure we have an even gap all the way around and it goes in nice and smooth. And there you go, nice and tight. Time to take it apart. You should hear right at the end of this a satisfying little creak click almost noise as it locks all the way into place. Make sure you mind no gaps all the way around. Looks good for me. Now, as I mentioned, we need to install the race. It's quite simple. Nice and straight. Get our hammer. Now it's time to put the rest of the headset together. Don't want to forget, this one comes with the little seal. Keep it nice and clean. Very nice cartridge bearing on this as well. Pretty cool to see that. Boom, look at that. Off to a great start already. Our top bearing is in there already. I know it was hard to see earlier. This has a little lock spacer, washer, I don't know what you want to call it for these headsets. And then our top piece that goes in and locks it all together, nice and smooth. And that's pretty much it. Actually, I got spacers and I'm going to cut this to size. I'm going to leave it a little tall, but I have a little pipe cutter here that is perfect for this. So I'll probably go like somewhere around here, I think. Alright, so I did cut this quite long to just see where the fit was going to be. This is not going to be my bike, so just left it at a spot where I thought was going to be a little too high and they could always cut it down. And lastly, you'll notice from the cut that we made, there's a little bit of a edge to this, and so you just want to knock it down. You can use a file if you have that, but I have a little piece of sandpaper. You see, got all the sharp edges away from it and it's more rounded now. Oh, maybe a little bit right there I'll hit. If you see any sharp edges, definitely go over it. Alright, and then now to install the star. Before we start putting it together, there's one last thing. And this headset is very cool enough to include it. It is a star nut. And there's the tool we will need for this. So what we will need is this little guy, and this is basically a press for your star nut. You just thread the new one right in the way it should go, and that's where you want to go downwards into it. Alright. Now, I was mentioning keeping this part on in the towel for the race. I'm actually going to have to like seriously press this on here and use it like that, because this is going to be a little hard to smash in there. You don't need to go too far down, just a few millimeters. Looks great, nice and even. In the beginning it started to go a little crooked. If it starts to go a little cockeyed, just straighten it out right away before you hammer it all the way in there. Alright, we got it all nice and curved on the edge here. Put it all together, put our water seal and our bearing on like we have been. Slide it right on through. Now normally I would not leave this much steerer, but because this is a new build, I would consider it. This isn't going to be for me. I don't want to size it for myself. And when you get a new bike, they actually leave probably even a little more than this. Tell you to come back later after you get a professional bike fit. And honestly, you'd never really want this much. You don't want to have a huge fulcrum, but I'd say we're probably right at the top of the maximum where you'd want to be. For our stem, what we're going to do next, we need a 1 1/8 to a 26 millimeter for your handlebars. That's your clamp size, 26, and it's already all hooked up and set up there. Get this centered and install our top bolt, and we are done. You have successfully converted your Headshok to something awesome like this carbon one, or maybe a suspension one, who knows, right? And then we tighten our stem last. Don't forget that once you have it centered. One thing, don't go yet, because we do have to mount our brake. And if you are switching to a road bike fork like I am, there's a good chance we're going to need a longer brake nut here to fit that. So we'll see in 1 second here. Alright, so this is just a stock RSX. There's also no spacer on here. You might want to add one of those. And if you need, this is what the longer ones look like. See a normal one from the RSX front versus what you can find on most carbon forks. And there's actually even a median size that you might use here. You can see this one's slightly smaller. So we will see. I'm going to throw a spacer on there. So you should put one of these little washers on here. Let's see. I'm going to try our medium one with a small head on it. Yeah, I don't know if the other ones would fit. One with a less round head. Oh, it will. Actually, okay. Actually, let's just try the original one first. Let's see how that goes. I'm almost positive I could see it, but might as well try it to show you. No? Oh, snap. Well, I don't know. That's... Nah, I don't like that. It gets tight, but it only, you can tell it's physically only grabbing like a thread and a half. It's a little scary for brakes. So this will be a perfect amount. There you go. Pretty cool. If you want to check this build out, I'm doing a pretty fun little custom build on this Silk Road. I'm so hot in this, I need to turn on the fan, but it kills my audio and the air conditioner. So it gets quite hot in here during the now coming summer months. But yeah, you can check out this build on my YouTube channel. This will be probably, I'm going to put this video, the build video out first and then do the Headshok video. It's quite a lot of editing for this thing. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Parts are in the description to everything like that. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. If you want to support this small YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate that. You could do so on Patreon. You could also do it on YouTube memberships. So please, have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.